Weeds in the lawn, we all hate them, so let's talk about identifying them, killing them, preventing them, as well as the difference between spot spraying and blanket or cover spraying. Let's get into it. Yes, g'day and welcome to a new video. Back lawn is not looking too bad right now after I applied that fungicide last week. I did end up getting my liquid fertilizer out a few days after that video as well. Seeing some improvements. It's not looking too bad out here, but today I've got some weeds to deal with actually. Yeah, look, weeds in the lawn, for those of us who love our lawns, who are trying to cut it with a cylinder mower decently low, they're gonna stand out, they're unsightly, they don't look good, they're annoying, and we wanna be weed free. So when it comes to controlling weeds, we wanna be able to deal with them, and there's multiple different ways that you can deal with them. Now, what I'm gonna be using today is a herbicide to kill a decent amount of weeds, and I'll talk about some of the reasons why I've got these weeds that are hanging around. The best way, where possible, is if you can manually remove some weeds. That's going to always be the best. You know, some of these herbicides, you know, we don't want to be using them all the time and be exposed to them all the time. So where you can, if you can manually get in there and pull them out, remove that entire root system, that is absolutely ideal. But it's not possible for all weed types, and some weeds like clover that I'm going to look at today, and I've got plenty of, they're really difficult to manually pull. Number one for today, best way to deal with weeds, and pre-emergents are available all over the world. Some people might be watching in all sorts of places. In Australia, this is the one that is most common, that it can use on the most amount of grass types. It's called Spartan pre-emergent herbicide. Just basically spray this twice a year around about the start of March, around about the start of September, and that is going to prevent and get into the soil and put a block on those weeds from ever being able to pop up into our lawns. So prevention is one of the best ways to go about it. Twice a year, job done, pretty much all weeds taken care of. So the council won't find me for that. So in my lawn, I do have a few weeds kicking around, and a lot of them are where my irrigation trenches were. So straight down the middle here was an irrigation trench. You can see some clover there. You can see some clover there. Over here, kids' playground area, which is gonna get some love throughout this winter and get it all tidied up, and where my fruit trees are here. But you can see through here, we've got some oxalis, we've got some clover. That's mainly what's down here. And so I had my pre-emergent barrier there from the start of September, but when the trencher came through and was digging up all that soil, pulling it back out again, and then I was backfilling the trenches with that soil again. So it was essentially untreated soil. And so I had my pre-emergent barrier in there from the start of September, and then the irrigation 2 months later when that's going in. All that soil that's treated in that top layer was being dug up right down 250 mil or something like that. And then I'm backfilling with that fresh sort of soil from underneath and a big mixture of things. So either way, that became untreated soil in the end. So that means that around those areas, there's been weeds that have been popping up. And over here in this project area, that was not treated with pre-emergent at all this season. And yep, it is absolutely covered. And now it's simply because I didn't have the product on me. I did get my pre-emergent for the back lawn out late this season. I want to say somewhere in the range of 20th to 25th of March. I'll probably put it on the screen and go back and have a look, but it was a bit late. So even in some random spots, and I have just been looking around this area for a solid minute, which when you know something's there is a frustrating minute. But I did see a little bit of clover around this spot earlier as well that I cannot find now, which is really annoying. But I don't actually have that happening in my front lawn. And there was probably an 8 to 10 day gap between pre-emergent out there and pre-emergent out here. So it just shows that, you know, without those little bits of clover and random stuff popping up in the middle of the lawn, because yeah, there's probably, I don't know, just 5 or 6 little bits of weed out here that would have been prevented by Spartan, but they've just managed to sneak themselves through here. So yeah, not a big deal by any stretch of the imagination, but that just sort of goes to the point of being really important, your timing of your pre-emergent. Ha! There we go, found found it. And so when it comes to weeds, your starting point and what you need to do first is identify them. So something that I have found great success with over the years is just Googling something like common lawn weeds, Victoria. So whatever your area is, whatever part of the world you're in, and that will start to give you some pictures potentially and show you what the common weeds in your area are, and you can sort of match up what's on your lawn compared to there. Something you can do that I enjoy using is Google Lens. So you go on there, you take a photo or you upload a photo into Google Lens, and then it will have a look at it and it will try to match it up with other pictures on the internet. So get the cleanest possible picture you can. If you can pull some out with the root system, depending on the weeds, that helps a lot too. But Google Lens is generally okay. And then once you've identified the weed, you've just got to work backwards from there to find the correct herbicide. So it might be clover herbicide, oxalis herbicide, plantain herbicide, paspalum herbicide. Spoiler alert, there's not many. And then once you've landed on that, go on, read the online label just to check that it's going to work in your situation. Some herbicides you might not be able to use on certain grass types, etc. The one I'm going to use today though, you can use on all grass types, just about. And so this is what I'm using today, bow and arrow herbicide. It's a fantastic one. It does kill a lot of weeds in a lot of situations in Australian conditions. Heaps of our weeds, especially in this Victoria area, a lot of it is this broadleaf type of stuff that is pretty easy to get rid of. So something that's really important is, like I said before, read the label online before you buy the product, just to make sure. You're going to get given this table which tells you the situation, the types of weeds that it will control. So clover, plantain, capeweed, cat's ear, bindi or bindi, cudweed, creeping oxalis, all these different sorts of weeds that it will take control of, and it will say on there for you the mixing rate. So I need 50 mils of this product per 100 square meters in between 2 and 5 liters of water. So you read through that. Something in here that I'll be doing, making sure I follow, is making sure this doesn't make contact with my skin. I'm going to be wearing the equivalent of cotton overalls, which is the best that I've got for today. I'm going to make sure I wear gloves and also goggles, it says. So I'll put on some safety glasses that I've got there just to make sure that my eyes are covered. I'm going to be wearing those gloves and yeah, just being generally careful with the product. It's a very still day today, which is great for spray drift purposes, because you do not want to spray when it's windy for it to drift onto other plants, fruit trees, veggie gardens, etc. Now, something that a lot of herbicide labels will tell you to do is not mow your lawn before between 3 and 4 days before and after you apply the product. So generally that is because you want to mow your lawn. Generally weeds, they'll grow up taller than our lawn, and that's one of the reasons that we hate them. They stand out so much. So they stand up for 3 or 4 days, you spray the product, it can get onto that leaf nicely, and then wait 3 or 4 days afterwards for that product to be really absorbed nicely into it, get a good kill, and job done. Get back into your regular mowing. But I want to show you 2 different scenarios here, and the reason why today I'm going to mow and then apply the product. So all the weeds I have been showing you, that is after the lawn has been mowed 30 or so minutes beforehand. So clearly not too much damage has been done to them. We've got a couple of nice bits of clover here where this trench runs through here, but let's have a look at this. So you can see there, it's been run over, but still looking very intact, that clover. And then over here, similar sort of concept. So this clover here is all looking nice and healthy. And then when I start this up, still looking very much the same. So these are 2 fairly unique sort of situations. I'm cutting at 22 millimeters here, which is clearly just enough for the front roller to squash down the weed and for me to roll over the top of it and for it to be barely untouched. If I was at 10 or 12 mil, I would expect to be cutting into that clover and some of the other bits and pieces a lot more than what I am. Over there, I'm cutting at, I think, 45 mil. So that is just tall enough again, even with the rotary blades and the way that they function, to just go straight over the top of that clover and some of the other weeds over there to not really cause any issues. So this was mowed a week ago, but some of these areas here are a little bit long. And if you are cutting your lawn a bit taller, it is something to consider that if you're cutting it too tall, then it might actually, just because of its natural normal height that you maintain at, just be crowding out the weed as well. So you're not going to actually get a good amount of spray onto that weed. Just be observant of your conditions to see what is going to work the best. And today, those conditions are going to dictate that spraying after I mow is going to be all right. So I'll get this area cut, I'll get my product mixed up, and I will get spraying. All right, all done and the sprayer thoroughly cleaned out. I did not press record on here, so just here you can watch me mixing up that product there. So using the right PPE, getting the right mixing rate. Now, a few things to finish off. So this product is safe for re-entry once it has dried, which today, 16 degrees or whatever it is, it's probably going to be a little while, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, something like that, a little bit longer where it's shady here. Either way, kids will be home in 2 hours, and you know, it was husband's birthday yesterday. He'll be tired after celebrating with his friends today, I'm sure. Yeah, they won't be coming out the back here anyway today, so that is completely fine. And now what you have seen me do here is cover spray that project area and spot spray over here on my main back lawn. Now over there on that project patch, it didn't get pre-emergent, so I'm just killing the weeds that are there. It's going to be a whole new area over there around springtime. I wasn't going to waste my time pre-emerging over there. Over here on the back lawn, like I talked about, I've had little bits and pieces come up, but it was mainly around those trenches. So they're the only spots I want to spray. I have heard before people talk about how these products are designed and the rates are to just spray your whole lawn. I just didn't want to on 500 square meters. Really wanted to avoid using that amount of product and all that sort of thing. So I've just gone through at about my normal walking speed, how I would cover spray over there, and you know, put out that amount of product onto there. So I'm sure the weeds are still going to die, so that's no problem. I also didn't want to blanket or cover spray this entire back lawn because bow and arrow can cause some yellowing to my grass type kikuyu. And then with this herbicide, the final important thing to finish off with is to make sure you do not water your lawn, and always before you spray, make sure there is no rain coming, because a lot of different products, they need different things. Some need to be watered down into the soil, like a lot of granular fertilizers, wetting agents, stuff like that. Whereas other products, they need to dry on top of the leaf. In this case, we want as much of that herbicide as possible to dry and to stick onto the actual weed to get the best amount of kill possible. I am pretty confident here of getting a good kill on all of those broadleaf annoying weeds around my yard here. Hopefully that has answered a lot of questions and helped you out a lot with your weed management in your lawn. And yeah, probably just the last thing to touch on is that in terms of herbicide timing, this is not a normal time in my lawn programs when I recommend herbicide, but that's because in my programs I recommend getting your pre-emergent out at the right time. So this amount of time frame, kind of 6 weeks or something, yeah, 6-7 weeks since my pre-emergent went out late. Just get the pre-emergent done, get it late, wait that amount of time. So, you know, now it's safe to go, okay, this is all the weeds that are going to come through that snuck through in my late pre-emergent barrier. Get them sprayed, job done. So yeah, look, anyway, thank you for watching that video. Hope it's helped you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.